All right, guys, we're back with Brandon here live. We were just talking about the Tide Pod Challenge, and hopefully you guys heard that because I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's so stupid, it's not worth it talking about more than 5 minutes. But I wanted to go ahead and get into the good news story of the week. I do this every week because, sadly, our media always focuses on the bad, or they're bashing people down all the time, never talking about really anything good society does or the world does in terms of people, countries, whatever. And this week what I wanted to talk about, this actually is world news, and I think it's a great story, is North and South Korea. They've been talking this week. They've opened relations for the first time in 3 years. North and South Korea are going to march under a single unified flag at the Olympics. Delegates from North and South Korea have announced the two countries will march under a single unification flag at the Winter Olympics this year. Excuse me here. The announcement came as a result of peace talks that were held by the two nations at the demilitarized zone just north of the de facto border between North and South Korea. The talks, which were hosted to relieve military tensions, are the first of such diplomatic meetings between the two countries in 2 years. So 2 years, not 3, my apologies. While the two Koreas have met under the unification flag 9 times in the past, this year's Olympics will be especially significant because the nations agreed to field one single women's ice hockey team. It will be the first time that a team has ever competed for both North and South Korea in the Olympics. I think this is just such a great thing because there's been obviously a lot of tension lately between the U.S. and North Korea, just between North Korea and everything going on there in general. And I think that this is something that is very positive. I don't know what can come out of this, but this is a very good story. And hopefully, relations can keep up and Kim Jong can maybe get his head out of his ass. But no, I think it's great. I'm very happy about it. I mean, there could be definitely more to the story in terms of North Korea basically just trying to make themselves look good. But regardless, right now, it's a good story. I think it's great.
Definitely. And for sports, that's what the Olympics is all about. Nations come together no matter what's happening in the world. Yeah. Nations coming together and competing for, some sports, and sports does special things for a lot of people. So
one thing I can't wait for, speaking of sports, in a few months is the World Cup again, even though the U.S. sucks so bad that they're not in it, but I mean, I definitely can't wait for it. I'm a huge soccer fan, so it'll be cool. And so can't wait for that. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about here, so there's a couple of things. The first thing is basically, unless they agree on a spending bill or a funding bill, the government might shut down here within the next 26 hours. So House approves bill to keep government open as Senate Democrats threaten to block it. So here we go. The House passed a short-term extension of government funding late Thursday after Republican leaders, from help from Trump, cobbled together enough GOP votes to overcome an internal revolt. Still, the possibility of a federal shutdown moved closer to certainty after Senate Democrats rallied against the GOP proposal, announcing they would not lend their votes to a bill that did not reflect their priorities on immigration, government spending, and other issues. By Thursday evening, nine Senate Democrats who had voted for a prior spending measure in December said that they would not support the latest proposed 4-week extension, joining 30 other Democrats and at least 3 Senate Republicans, leaving the bill short of the 60 votes needed to advance. This is big. I mean, being a person who's a libertarian, I mean, honestly, we can joke say, oh, government shutdown, great, because, we don't agree with, spending tons of money towards taxes and stuff like that. But at the same time, there are going to be people hurt if the government does shut down. I mean, it's the same thing every time. I think it's a huge piece of news, and you almost see, what's crazy is within the last 5 years, every year you almost see a story that says, oh, is the government going to shut down? Oh, is the government going to shut down? Every year. You didn't see that a while ago. I don't know what's been going on lately. I don't think people, have said Trump has made everything more divided. And same thing with Obama. I don't know if it's division or what the heck's going on, but lately there's been a lot of things in the past few years that have had to do with government shutdowns, and the government did shut down once. It literally did for a few weeks. So, I mean, it's a big story, and I don't know what to expect or what to see from it. What are your thoughts on it, Brandon?
I just think, man, it's always been division. It's always too much pride, and maybe they both can't make a deal, but man, we're all the same team here. You know, I just why can't you guys find the one thing that's going to help? I don't know, the majority of Americans, and I hate to say majority because you want to help every single American possible, you know?
Yeah.
Every single one if it's possible. But to shut down a government, come on now, grow up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's Democrat or Republican, our first president said once it comes to parties anyways, you know, it's over. So, I don't know. Exactly. I feel like we should learn from past mistakes. And if the government said it's going to shut down the past, 8 years or whatever, okay, something's not happening right.
Yeah, well, one thing I just get so sick of seeing all the time when it comes to anything that's related to this is identity politics. Oh, Democrats did this. Oh, Republicans did this. First off, both parties are out to get you whenever it comes to virtually anything, in my opinion, honestly. People need to understand that, like, not everything is just you're going to 100% identify with Democrat, 100% identify with Republican, because a lot of people will call each other things on social media and stuff like that. A lot of people really, not on physical issues itself, but when you combine everything together, they're really in the middle in America. And people don't ever focus on that. They always want to focus on the identity aspect of politics. So that's just one little piece of news for you guys, so you guys can kind of be updated on that. I just gave you a good news story of the week, and I love giving good news stories last. Unfortunately, here I'm going to go good news story and then bad news story, because this is an awful story. I actually saw this on Philip DeFranco a couple days ago, and I just found the article on it. This is through New York Times. California girls escape from human depravity led to rescue of 12 siblings. So this is a big story here. I'm going to go through the first few paragraphs of it. This is out of Riverside. She had been physically tortured, chained, and deprived of sleep. She had been psychologically tortured, too. Apple pies and unopened toys left in the open that she and her 12 brothers and sisters were forbidden to touch. But after long years of abuse, a stunted teenage girl who had grown up in a house full of imaginable horrors made her escape. She took one of her siblings with her and made a dash for freedom. It was a plan she had prepared for on the sly for 2 years, and it almost fell apart as the sibling who followed behind her got too scared and went back. On Thursday, after the teenager successfully alerted the authorities to her family's dark secret, her parents were charged with dozens of counts of torture and abuse. The Riverside County District Attorney, Mike Hestron, revealed the gruesome details in what he said was one of the most horrific cases of human depravity of his career. I hope I'm saying that right. The teenager grew up cowering in fear, doing exactly what her parents ordered and nothing more, which made her escape all the more remarkable. Dialing 911 on a cell phone she had grabbed from the house, she told the authorities what her parents had done to her and her brothers and sisters, how they beat him, forced them to urinate in their beds, and allowed them to bathe only once a year. That's just unbelievable, man. That is unbelievable that there are people that are that sick out there, man. These people, period, should really be given the death penalty, but they're going to get life in prison. They should. They better. I mean, this state's criminal justice system is so bad. If you guys remember, I talked about it either with Al. I think I talked about it with Al last week. The person who killed Kate Steinle in San Francisco a couple years ago only got 3 years in prison, and it just shows how awful this state is when it comes to government. Their state's criminal justice system is, and I really hope these people get the crime they deserve, and this young girl gets the justice that she deserves. It's just unbelievable hearing that story, man. Basically, I read another story on this a couple days ago that basically said that the couple people were so emaciated that the guys actually looked like girls there, and the girls actually looked like guys. It was just like they almost looked like they weren't even themselves. It looked like hecka different. The parent, David and Louise, 56 and 49. Just unbelievable that there's stories out this like in America, man, still. It's just, that's something you would hear out of a third world country, honestly, or just, it's a story you don't want to hear anywhere. I mean, it's just unbelievable that there are people that are that sick.
Yeah, I mean, you see what the guy looked like? I would have called the cops just by what he looked like. I mean, he just looks, I mean, it's never a thing to joke about, but those people are so sick. I mean, he looked like that type of a sick dude.
He does. I have his picture right here as well. Yeah,
it's just like, I don't know, but I mean, that is, man, that hurts. That hurts the soul right there. That's rough. That's a rough one.
That's crazy, man.
But they're going to get what they deserved, and those kids will get what they deserve by actually being free and actually hopefully getting to, reconstruct a life that's not hopefully brought back to the torturous times they were put through.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, man, I hope for the best for them all.
Yeah, me too.
And the worst for those parents. Give them someone to love. Give them someone to love them, and take those parents away. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So the next thing I want to talk about, this will probably go into part 4 of our podcast, away from that awful story. So 2 days from now, which is going to be Saturday, is going to be 1 year since Trump was inaugurated president. And I did this with Al last week. I'm not going to go through all of his accomplishments and stuff like that again. Well, I'm just going to go through thoughts and stuff like that. So, Brandon, what are your thoughts on... well, actually, before we get to that, I got Al a comment here. I agree, partisan politics is malarkey. Death penalty. I don't know if you're being sarcastic there, but I don't necessarily agree with the death penalty in a lot of cases, but this is one I would. It has to be obviously proven, and there are cases that have been false when it comes to it, so you have to be very careful. But regardless, life of prison, something. You got to do... You got to do something when it comes to justice for these types of people. I'm sorry.
For sure.
In my opinion, anyways. But anyways, so back what I was about to say. Your thoughts on the first year of President Trump, so you could give me a grade. You could say some things you think he's done that are good, some things you think he's done that are bad. Just overall, give me your thoughts on what you think for him in the first 365 days.
President Trump. Oh, boy. I figured he would be a great businessman, which he has apparently turned out to be. The stock market's up. He's making deals. He's a deal maker with all the Ford plant, the coal mining, and all that, and all the people that are actually coming back to America to give jobs. And that's what he did. I think that's one really good thing. The bad things, the cons I see, are the division. Things that maybe he didn't say, but in times he could have said something better. Yeah. The whole Charlottesville thing. He didn't comment on it for, what was it, a week?
Yeah.
No, you don't wait a week, a couple days. You don't wait a couple days. You say right then, 20 minutes after they start, you give what's right, which means there's no division in America. There is division in America. That's not what I meant. But you say, we are wanting to be a better America than we were 60 years ago. You don't do this again. We're done with this. We are America. I don't care if you're black, Asian, white, we're Americans. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's it. And he should have said that right then. And that's why we need, I don't know, man. That's just where I draw a line with his politicianness of things, if that's even a word. I don't think it is. Right. But
I was talking about Al with this last week, and the thing is, you were talking about things he says. There was a whole shithole gate last week. The thing is, there is no audio evidence of him saying that. But the thing is, if he did say that, that's obviously terrible. I mean, you got to be smarter if you're president of the United States to not say something that stupid. But the thing is, I could see him saying that. That's the thing. Like, I could literally see him saying that.
I can see him saying that. The only thing is that it doesn't make it right for him to say things like that. However, that's in the Oval. That's in his office. How many presidents before have said something like that have never? It's never gone public.
That's the thing.
So how are you gonna? Who was in there? What? It makes me think. What Democrat was in there that splurted that out to the public?
There's a lot of coverage that definitely seems like it's a little fishy. Yeah.
Even though it's not right for him to say, that is not political, and that's just not right. You don't say something like that as the president of the United States. Yeah. You're better than that. We're better than that as a country.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. We're going to end our 15 minutes here and go on to part 4. I want to talk when we get back from break in terms of all the division you were talking about in America and where some of that comes from. That's also going to be part of my final segment this week. But I'm going to go ahead and end these 15 minutes here. We're going to get part 4 going for you guys here in a second. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.